Good afternoon and welcome into Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Bally Bet, an official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly. Nathan Zagura and the play-by-play voice of your Cleveland Browns, Andrew Siciliano, live from the Cross Country Mortgage Campus. We are field side as the Browns get ready after the day off yesterday. Well, it wasn't a day off from practice. They had meetings and certainly were in the building to come back and get in there for their 8th training camp practice of the season, back in the pads. Andrew, it is good to be with you. How were your travels? As you said, no practice. I'm out of here, heading to Colorado for a quick 24 hours and back.
Not even 24 hours. It's good to see you, and
Great
good to be here in Bo's seat.
By the way, I wore my Viore hoodie yesterday
Yeah,
because
I
I
got
knew
one
you
on.
weren't here, so that we wouldn't be twinning.
Well, this is almost hoodie weather.
No, this is good.
How good is this?
This is good.
Like, this is the best weather day of the year.
Yeah.
I
Judge
mean,
Schmales
at
would
least
say
at
very
least
good.
camp. That was good. I had to bounce out and do a show for NFL radio yesterday in Denver, so I got to see the Broncos up close. They look good. I know we saw them last year on a Monday night, second half of the season in Denver, and that was a fun game for everybody. Obviously, the outcome was not, but Denver's certainly a good team. They had a top-5 defense. They added Dre Greenlaw. They added Jahdae Barron, a first-round corner. They added Talanoa Hufanga as well, a couple of Niners there on the back end of that defense. And, look, they got their quarterback. And Bo Nix is the guy. You know, what does he do year 2? That's the big question, but they are a 10-win playoff team playing a third-place schedule. So,
yeah, things are looking good there. It's a division that is very good. Steve Weish was on our show a couple of days ago. Were you standing here at that time when he was
I was not.
Oh, and he said we asked him a team that nobody's talking about enough that they should be, and his answer was the Denver Broncos.
Well, they're talking about it there. I mean, the feeling in Denver, every corner, no matter where you go, the minute you get off the plane is, we have a Super Bowl team. This is it. Second-year quarterback, rookie contract. It's time to strike. As I said,
Yep.
They have a top-5 defense, and they went out and they added grit to that top-5 defense.
Yep.
And 9 of the 11 guys projected to start have at least 2 years in Vance Joseph's system. They led the league in sacks a year ago. They drafted R.J. Harvey. They think he adds a little bit of juice to that backfield, something they're lacking. They didn't have the big explosives necessarily last year out of that position. They're a good team, but It's a great division, like the Browns.
Loaded.
Here, great division. So, and the strength of schedule thing, because I know obviously the Browns' schedule not favorable, but at least on paper now, having this conversation with the great Ed McCaffrey yesterday, Niners legend, Broncos legend. Once, and I've said this 1,000 times, but I'm glad he said it too. Once the season begins, throw out strength of schedule.
Totally.
Like,
Every team's different.
Every
Injuries
team's
happen.
different year by year by year. And listen, we know there are certain teams that, assuming the quarterback stays healthy, take the Buffalo Bills, for example. Yes, they're going to be good. We saw the Chargers last night. Assuming Justin Herbert stays healthy and that defense can do what it did last year, we know they're going to be good. But everything changes year by year, and the strength of schedule on paper in the offseason is going to look very different, say, once the calendar turns to October.
Yeah, that's when you kind of almost have to re-look at that and see which teams are playing well, which teams are not. I still remember from that game on Monday Night Football, I thought Nick Benito's pick six was one of the most impressive plays I've seen. I remember I was doing my post-game recap, and he walked by, and I stopped, and I told him, I said, for you to be able to rush the passer the way you do, but then to be in space, basically cover 3 different guys in a zone drop, and then still read the quarterback and cut in front, pick it, take it to the house like you're a running back. Incredible.
He had another one that was almost the same, or maybe he just missed it. Maybe he couldn't corral it. I just remember where I was flying. It was after we were in Pittsburgh, and I remember I was changing planes. This is how I remember my life.
Yeah.
What airport I was in,
airports.
and I remember watching the highlight. I'm like, oh, my God, he almost just did it again. He was a Pro Bowler and an All-Pro last year, and he's a fascinating case here. We were talking about this yesterday, talking about it with George Payton, the GM of the Broncos, just how they do their contract with Nick Benito, because he wasn't a first-round pick. He's in a contract year. It is time to pay Nick Benito. He was 3rd in the NFL in sacks last year behind Trey Hendrickson and Myles Garrett, and then there's 13.5 for Nick Benito. Well, TJ and Myles and Trey Hendrickson are on, their third contract.
That's right.
Right? their ages begin with threes.
They're at the either
their
at
ages
their peak
begin
or right on the back.
You are paying them for past performance and also future performance,
Yep.
right? But they have their skins on the wall. Nick Benito's a young man. You are paying an ascending player for future performance. How do you do that deal? And also consider the fact, not to talk all Broncos here, they had 6 guys last year that had career highs in sacks. So there are a lot of mouths to feed. And I'm not saying it's the system. Nick Benito's a darn good player, but there are a lot of factors here. It'll be a fascinating deal.
It will be a fascinating deal. He was the knock on him was, if there was a knock, the reason he went second, he was just undersized. But as a 3-4 outside backer, obviously he can drop. We saw that firsthand. He can get to the quarterback, so it certainly is working out for him very well there. Our hot topics of the day presented by University Hospitals, the official healthcare partner of your Cleveland Browns. A little bit of news, no surprise here. The Browns have signed a wide receiver, Chase Cota, who is 6'4", 205, officially in his first NFL season out of Oregon. Now you hear that and you may say, oh, maybe he played with Dylan Gabriel. No, he did not. Originally signed by Detroit as an undrafted free agent in 2023. He has spent time on the Chiefs and Texans practice squads. He'll wear number 81. Highly regarded recruit coming out of high school.
Yeah, and played in UCLA, then went to Oregon where his old man played. Do you remember his old man, the safety, Chad Cota? Remember in the about 20 years
familiar.
ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, his dad played for a while. I remember mostly with the Panthers, but he bounced around. His dad was a safety. He's a wide receiver. Actually played in the preseason in 23 with the Lions. Had a decent game or two. So guys got size, another body to that room.
Well, we got size was clearly the theme of the day, a 6'4" receiver, and then they signed cornerback Keenan Isaac. You lose M.J. Emerson, your biggest corner. You signed Isaac, 6'3", 190 in his second NFL season out of Alabama State. Originally signed by the Bucs as an undrafted free agent in 23. He's appeared in 7 career games. Last season saw action in 5 with the Buccaneers. Also played for the Houston Roughnecks of the UFL. He will wear number 38.
Size, again, you need somebody in there with MJ down and out. And obviously, look, you can take any corner you could find.
Yep.
And there are not a lot of veteran corners out there. I know people say, oh, Sante Samuel. Look, I don't know. There's a reason he's unsigned.
Bradbury, sure.
Yeah. There are guys out there. I am if people think the Browns are going to go find a veteran corner, I think they are more likely to do that come cutdown day when some veterans shake loose.
Yep.
That's the kind of move that I would think maybe they are more prone to make. This guy has played with the Bucs, but he has not taken a defensive snap. Everything was special
teams only. Last night we did get some football. You were in the air at the time.
I was watching as much as I could.
I did tune in for a little bit. It was just great to see football. It's great to see Brent Musburger. I thought that was probably the best part of the entire broadcast, to be honest. But it was great to hear Tirico and Chris Collinsworth, Kayla's favorite broadcaster. And I think it might be a full stop on that one. It was good to see football. It was fun. Trey Lance looked very good, 13 of 20 for 120 yards, 2 touchdowns through 3 quarters, and they beat the Lions 34-7. Nobody played their players of consequence, but for Trey Lance, you wonder, working with Greg Roman, if that is a good fit for him, and certainly it seemed like it was last night. The opening drive, they actually went for it on 4th down near the goal line, rolled out and made a beautiful throw over the defender, layered it in right there to Will Dissly, the tight end, for a touchdown to open it up, and Chargers looked. Again, this has no bearing on the regular season, but Trey Lance looked good. Marion Hampton got in there for a little bit and had a couple nice runs. So that was pretty much that's it.
Isaac Tesla.
Yeah.
For the Lions.
It's a good name.
Good as well. It was good to have football back. Good to have good weather for that football
as
well. Like a Hall of Fame game without a lightning delay or without a power outage.
Oh, boy.
Or without some kind of just nonsense. It was great. I loved it. You know what was also cool? Listening to Sterling Sharpe, his sideline interview. Did you see that with Melissa Stark?
I did not, no.
Okay. So Sterling and I worked together maybe 2 years at NFL Network. We didn't do any shows together, but Monday nights was our thing my first year there.
He was a stud.
I did the Monday night post-game show on the network. Sterling did pregame, the studio.
Yep.
Pregame at halftime.
Okay.
When you go do TV and you have to put a coat and tie on, right?
Yeah.
Once you're in it, right? You're not doing wardrobe changes. Like, you're not taking your shirt and tie off. Maybe you loosen up the tie.
Sure.
Right. This is why I love Sterling. Sterling would do the pregame show.
Okay.
Suited and booted, right?
Okay.
He would then immediately, as soon as they're off the air, go put on sweats.
Say, get this off of me.
He would go outside, smoke a cigar. He would then
love it.
come back inside, sit in the green room. We'd watch the game. Stage manager, the great Puma Nelson, would come in and go like, 2 minutes, guys. Right?
Uh-huh.
At that point, Sterling would get up, go change, put his coat and tie back on,
Yeah.
and then go out there to the stage and do halftime.
That's pretty unprecedented. I like it. I
love the
respect
guy.
it. Yeah, I respect that a lot.
guy.
He was so good. Obviously, career cut short due to injury, but so productive when he was in the league. And that's one of those things, when you look at, to me, we always talk about on the show, Hall of Fame. How did you measure up against, and we've seen guys on kind of shortened careers get in there, but how did you measure up against your peers in your era? And to me, to be in that Hall of Fame, you needed to be one of the best while you played the game. And for Sterling Sharpe, it was just 88 to 94 was his career. But you talk about productivity, 3 times led the league in catches, 3 times first team All-Pro, twice top 10 in the MVP voting. That's a Hall of Famer to me.
Yeah. He turn of the tape as well.
Oh,
Just watch the guy play.
so productive.
Did you see the video, where they had the knock where Sterling and Shannon surprised him?
No, I haven't seen that knock
God,
video.
It warms my heart. Sterling had no idea. He came over to his brother's house. He walks in the door, and someone was like, "Oh yeah, he's downstairs."
Oh, I did. This
Yeah.
was a long time ago.
Right,
In
right.
the basement.
And he came
yes,
down
I
the
did
steps.
See it.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
The look on Sterling's face, like they replayed that last night on the broadcast. Oh, that
So
got
good.
me. That got me right here.
Yeah, that'll
Yep.
get you. That'll get you right in the heart there.
So
No
good.
doubt about it. All right, let's kind of set the scene here. We're gonna have Kevin Stefanski talking at the podium.
20 minutes.
In 18 to 20 minutes here. I think the big question today is, will Kenny Pickett practice? Because if he does, obviously that creates, it's tougher, as everybody's talked about kind of ad nauseum now with 4 quarterbacks and 3 to get the reps in. But that also puts him on track for what we would have to consider the most important early practices, which would be the joint practice there in Carolina, the preseason game in Carolina. We know that the Carolina Panthers will be playing Bryce Young and their starters in that game.
Dave Canales made that announcement today, so that adds a little extra juice to the game a week from tonight.
Most certainly does, and I think that will prompt such a question from Kevin Stefanski, who I guarantee will not give a definitive answer.
Will not give the answer in any way, shape, or form.
Not right now, no way. But so it sets you up now for.
Not there's anything wrong with that, by the way.
Of course,
We got a week.
Right. I think, to me, that's just going to be the most interesting one. If he misses today, they practice today, they practice again tomorrow morning, off Sunday. You'll have a practice Monday. You'll have on Tuesday, it's just like a lift and a
Tuesday, no practice.
no practice,
Yep.
travel day,
Like to
Workout,
Carolina.
meetings,
joint
travel.
practice Wednesday. So if you don't practice today, there are really only, including the joint practice, 3 practices before that game.
I have no idea how Kenny is doing. I've seen him walking around the building. I'll say this. Just me. Why push it today? It's a quick turnaround to tomorrow morning. I wouldn't necessarily. Do you see any harm in saying wait till next week?
I don't necessarily see harm in it. Like if you said, okay, he's going to practice Monday and Wednesday next week, that would be – I don't know. I don't see any harm in that. I do think if he were to miss next week's activities, that makes it very difficult. So – I don't know that's necessarily why push it. I think if he's ready to go, he's ready to go. My sense from just kind of seeing him is that it felt like this was all out of an abundance of caution anyway. So the question becomes, when are we at, the good point? So I'll be keeping my eye out to see if he comes out here. So far, we've seen a lot of the specialists around here. Now, Shedeur Sanders is on the field already as a quarterback out here today, as he's always one of the first guys out. Tony Brown looks like he's got cleats on today, so perhaps that means he will do some more work.
Step in the right direction.
Step in the right direction for the veteran there.
But he's normally barefoot anyway.
He does not fancy shoes. So to me, that's interesting. I agree with you. I don't think it has long-term if it's today or if it's Monday, but I think if it's not today and it's not Monday, I think that makes it a little bit more difficult for him to win the starting job, because at some point you have got to turn this camp into getting your starting quarterback ready to play week 1.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I guess if we don't disagree here. I don't know that today is as significant. Maybe I don't see the harm in waiting. But
no, but it's got to
we'll
be
see
by,
how he feels. It's got to be soon
by Monday.
Yes,
Yeah.
I understand that, and I agree absolutely with that. At the same time, if Kenny isn't here, then go back to Wednesday. It's more Dylan Gabriel, more Shedeur Sanders, and both of them had very good moments on Wednesday. That, to me, was the headline from Wednesday. Going live, tackling, everybody loved that. There isn't a single player that hasn't said, I loved that on Wednesday. But the opportunity for the two young quarterbacks to actually get more reps behind a better offensive line, Shedeur going to the second-team offense, but against the first-team defense, that is a first-team rep.
Yep,
right?
He made a great throw to Keyshawn Johnson, rolling to his right.
Absolutely. Give Keyshawn the damn ball.
That's
Absolutely. Right. I want to see more of that. I also want to see Kenny Pickett. Like, both can be true, right?
Yes. And you and I talked about this before, and I was on Mo Pedman's program this morning. I want to see Shedeur Sanders get first-team reps. I think that he has made enough plays out here.
I want to see all four quarterbacks get first-team reps.
Of course, because you want to see who separates. As the great Macho Man says, the cream always rises. Yeah. You want to see the cream of the crop. You want to go against a defense that's been excellent, a defensive line that's certainly been the headline so far. How do they perform in those situations? And I think you can get that here at the Cross Country Mortgage Campus. I know you can get it in Carolina. I know you can get it in Philadelphia against the defending Super Bowl champion. So there are only so many of those reps, and I think that you want to give everybody some of them. I think Shedeur has earned some of them, as I said before, and then it'll shake out. I think people, again, need to understand we're talking about a third-round pick and a fifth-round pick. Neither, when you're drafted in the third and the fifth round as a quarterback, you are not expected to start day one. You are not expected to be the franchise savior. That's just the reality of that pick of a selection. So anything above that is gravy, but I want to see these guys get opportunities because we're in a situation where we don't have somebody who clearly is that guy. You've got the veteran Joe Flacco. You've got Kenny Pickett, a former first-round talent, 15-10 as a starter in the NFL, trying to kind of do what Sam Darnold's done, do what Baker Mayfield's done, do what Geno Smith's done, but it's far from a lock. And so I want to see everybody get opportunities and let, the dust settle where it may.
I can sit here and I could confidently say that I firmly believe and expect that both Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders will make plays against Carolina in the preseason game a week from tonight, where people watching and listening will go, I love that. I want to see more of it. They deserve more of a chance. Because they're both gamers, right?
Yep.
We can sit here and micromanage. I'm not taking a knock at anyone's, QB tracker in training camp, but there's no context to any of those numbers.
No.
Shedeur did this today. Against with a third-string offensive line where the snap was constantly on the ground. That was a day last week, right? Or Gabriel did this. Okay, but against who and for what? To quote the great Ricky Waters, for who, for what? And it goes for both guys. Numbers can't tell the real story of training camp. Both of those guys, both of the rookies, are gamers. And I guarantee you both are going to make plays. Also, both probably make plays they want back.
Sure.
Right? There'll be some of those as well. Get me to the first game, 8 days from now. What are we saying waking up Saturday morning? Right? Who are we pounding the table for Saturday morning? It doesn't mean either of them is going to win the starting job week one. Now, fans need to get into their head right now. A veteran is going to start week one. It's not going to be a rookie.
Totally agree with that.
It's just not. You can't throw a rookie out there with that schedule week one. Go back. Historically, it doesn't happen for third or fifth round picks. It doesn't. Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett are not Matt Flynn. Okay, even if one of them is Russell Wilson, the other guy's not Matt Flynn.
Right.
And the schedule's not in any way conducive to starting a rookie week one.
Certainly not saying you're going to set them up for success. We've talked ad nauseum. Those are 6 of the winningest teams in the league last year, combined 40 games over 500. So it does feel like, that's where you're going to want a veteran to come out and shoulder that load early in the season. You've got to see them at some point. I think you want to evaluate everybody. I do think it's a long shot for either of these rookies to have a run where they do – a long shot, not impossible – where they have a run that says, okay, I know we have 2 first-round picks next year. We're not going to use one on a quarterback. But it is
Would
possible.
Love to see it.
I'd love to see
Would
it.
love
And
to see
that's
it.
the best possible outcome for the Cleveland Browns.
What a world that would be. We're jumping way ahead. Okay?
Sure, but
it is August 1st.
We're talking.
But what a world it would be if one of these 2 quarterbacks, I don't care which one, I really don't, but if one of them, of the 2 rookies, made such a statement
Even Kenny
this
Pickett.
year, or Kenny Pickett for that matter, made such a statement that next year you're like, we got 2 first-round picks. We don't need the quarterback.
And if you had, let's say, one of those was still in an area where somebody who needed a quarterback made you an offer, and all of a sudden you turn, 2 first-round picks into 2 first-round picks for a couple years, then you can really kind of remake this team with the young talent that you have not been able to do because of the last 3 years, 2 of those drafts you did not have a first or a second-round pick, and in one of them you did not have a first-round pick. So that's how you remake a roster. It's a team that's going to have a lot of needs over the next few years. Yes, that is the dream scenario, and you certainly hope somebody becomes worthy of that. Now, it is training camp. We are 1 week in, basically. This is practice number 8. Will we see any changes? Changes typically in training camp come after that day off, after everybody kind of gets to evaluate, watch tape, reset. Will we see anything different? Will we see Shedeur get his first-team rep? I don't know. That's kind of, to me, the story with the quarterbacks is, first and foremost, do we see Kenny Pickett? And then secondly, is there anything different? And I know everybody here is very impressed with Dylan Gabriel, and I got to sit down with him before today's practice, which we'll play for you in just a little bit. Incredible young man. Like, so smart, great head on his shoulders. Feels like you're talking to a veteran, gets it, easy to root for. You would love to see that guy have a lot of success.
Yeah, it's what I said on draft day, just from doing one Oregon game last year. To know him is to love him. Got to go out there and do it, but to know the guy is to love the guy. You understand why the Browns, and why I can tell you there are other teams as well that loved him in the pre-draft process.
He crushed. He handled the pre-draft process as well as anybody in this draft at that position. Clearly, I believe, and we talked about earlier, whatever he is capable of, he is going to reach that ceiling.
Listen, I was having this conversation with somebody yesterday in Denver, member of the media, and they're asking about Dylan Gabriel, and I said, to know him is to love him, number one. He crushed the pre-draft process, number two, like you just said. Also, just look at the stats, and stats aren't everything. I understand. He's one of the top 3-4 most productive quarterbacks in the history of Division I college football.
Yep, that's right.
Let's not forget that.
Period. That's
yes.
a full stop.
He's also not big. Okay, like I get that part of
it. Yep.
Also not big. But he was not big when he played at Oklahoma. He was not big when he played at Oregon. They are not going at Oklahoma and Oregon against high school teams. They are going against D linemen and linebackers that get drafted day 1 and day 2.
In the Big Ten last year, he was going against 2 defensive linemen that were drafted in the top 5 in the draft.
Sure. Every day in practice.
Abdul Carter, Mason Graham.
Oh, no, but I'm saying even those guys.
Yeah, Oregon guys are excellent.
Or Birch or Caldwell, the guys that he had up front.
For sure.
Harmon. Like all those guys in practice.
Yeah, those are first rounders.
Every day.
Yeah, this is exactly to your point. And that's what Kevin Stefanski always said. The height never showed up on tape. The height never showed up on tape. Now, since we've been here, he seems to me to be much more comfortable when it's quick out of the pocket or when they move the pocket. He is so good throwing, running left. Excellent going right. And he said, and you'll hear this a little bit later, just a little snippet, a teaser, that play callers are so used to calling plays for right-handed quarterbacks that sometimes they didn't even really think about the fact that he was left-handed. And so a lot of the boots are to the right just because that's the way that play callers and play designers, that's the typical thinking. And so he said, I had to get very proficient going right. So he doesn't care if it's right or left. Obviously, look, anybody can throw the ball a little bit better going the direction that their strong hand is because it doesn't require that flip of the hips. You can just kind of flick it out there and use your momentum to help you. But he's done a great job. Bob, doing it again. Bob, the legend. Look at that turn radius. Electric. He's so good. He doesn't even know we're talking to. We're praising him, Gibbe.
You want to let people in here on what you're talking about?
Oh, yeah. They know. We've been talking about it for days. So Bob is handling from security. He's handling the VIPs, drives them out on their golf cart.
Dude, he brought over Jake from 92, the producer. Brought over him and all of his gear.
People helping
people. He's a nice guy.
But his command on that cart, Andrew, the way, the panache with which he handled that turn, it's stellar. The turn radius is like it's on rails. It's unbelievable.
Like he's calling NASCAR over here, turning left.
No, turning left. Listen, unlike Derek Zoolander, who had a lot of gifts, but hanging a Louie wasn't one of them, Bob can go left with the best of them.
In the interest of equal time, we should also point out that Shador's made a couple of very nice throws on the run, moving to his right as well.
We should bring it back,
especially back on Wednesday. He has.
He's
he
very
really
comfortable
has.
on the move, and that was against the first.
He's almost
defense.
more comfortable on the move, to be honest with you.
I think so far when he's been in the pocket and the ball's out under like 2.5 seconds, when it's what they call quick game, he's been great. He's had a couple where he's climbed the pocket very effectively as well. But, once he kind of starts to move, he keeps his eyes down the field. Bernie's talked about it so much, how well he keeps his eyes down the field, and that's where some of the real big plays have happened.
There was a throw, to your point, I think on Monday this week, where he stepped up in the pocket, climbed the pocket, hit Whitehart over the middle. That was a nice one as well.
Yeah, these guys have been impressive throwing the football, and I think that's the first thing that you want to see. I know, for me with Dylan, I want to see him be able from the pocket to work the middle of the field without overthrowing some of those. Yeah. We've seen that a little bit. And I know you want to see from Shador from the pocket in structure on the intermediate game rip the ball. The velocity you want to see on those intermediate throws.
That's because on the intermediate throws, Gabriel's got more zip.
No doubt.
He's got more zip on it. Gabriel's also, I think, really good throwing the post corner, right? He's been great on those. Look, Dylan Gabriel's going to get into the game in Carolina. They're going to run a stretch handoff play fake. He's going to turn around, hit a second level throw, and people are going to go, okay, wow, I see it. And Shador's going to make plays as well. But Gabriel's these
guys have played a lot of football too. They've played a lot of high-level football, certainly in the case of Dylan Gabriel, and then Shador, in a situation where more often than not he's been on the wrong side of the talent equation, certainly when he was at Colorado, and has elevated the team around him and certainly the players around him, got a lot of people, quite frankly, drafted in the National Football League that played with him. Gibbe, do you want to carry this through here to Stefanski or take a quick break?
You have no time for a break. Coach will be up in 2.
Oh, well, now we'll keep it through. Well, there you go.
Will keep it.
What do you want? You just want nonstop content? You've come to the right place.
I was going to tell you to break at 18, but you were in a swerve.
We were in fuego. And then Bob came in here and just was a showstopper.
Yep. You guys break every rule of radio. I love it.
Every rule. There are no rules anymore. It's 2025, baby. We're just out here living.
I don't look at me.
So Kevin Stefanski to come to the podium. I guarantee the first question is going to be about Kenny Pickett. The second question is going to be about the starters and what Carolina is doing. That's my guess anyway.
Yeah, so to your point, Dave Canales said Bryce Young's going to play, which I'm excited for. Hey,
he had a nice finish to the season.
He did. He had a great finish. I remember turning on I don't remember what week it was. They were in Germany, right? So the bright and early, I think it was the Browns bye. So it would have been week 10.
Yep.
Right? Week 10, waking up bright and early and turning on that game in Germany. And Bryce Young's making plays and layering the football and hitting crossers. And I remember going, okay, wait a minute. I know that guy.
Yeah.
Wait, that's the guy that used to play at Alabama. I know him.
Because the guy was the number one pick in the draft. And correct me if I'm wrong, but at the end of the year in a game Atlanta needed to win to get in, didn't Carolina beat them in a shootout?
Look, the question is that the real? We know we could play, but does that momentum carry over?
Right.
Right.
And that
is there enough there around him? Does that momentum carry over?
Listen,
have they figured out the backfield? Are there enough weapons on the outside? That defense is not good. It's not.
No, but I think they're going to. I like Legit. I think he is, first of all, incredibly entertaining to listen to.
Yes,
second of all, I think he's a darn good player.
Yeah.
And then to get McMillan was my favorite receiver in this draft. You give Bryce Young, a guy who's Mike Evans-ish, and that's the highest of praise for Mike Evans, but that's what you hope, McMillan can be for
Mike
them.
Evans is first ballot.
First ballot Hall of Fame, yes. He has done things that nobody else has ever done in terms of starting his career with 1,000 yards every single year. I really think
Coaches
they
at the
could
podium,
be
gentlemen.
good. All right, here's Kevin Stefanski at the podium.
Today and tomorrow, and then we'll take another break before we get ready to head down to Carolina. Injury front, Kenny Pickett will be back out there in a limited role today. He continues to progress. And then, I think the guys are doing a nice job understanding all the work that needs to get done. They're focused. Meetings have been excellent. So looking forward to another good day. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Mary Kay, who's not here, right? She's down in Canton, or on her way to Canton. Unbelievable honor for Mary Kay, well deserved. So congratulations again to her. But with that, I'll take any questions.
You saw Dewan leave practice Wednesday on that.
He's fine. Yeah.
When you say limited for Kenny, will he not be doing team stuff?
Correct. Yeah.
Kenny, Kevin, with the him coming back, is there a possibility that he would be full go by joint team workouts next week?
Yeah, I don't know. I need to see how he looks today. We're not going to get too far past today.
Kevin, like he's still fully in the quarterback competition, then in your guys' eyes, and then competing for that.
For sure, yeah. That's kind of mentioned to you guys before. I mean, obviously disappointed that he's not full go, but he's very much involved in everything we're doing.
Is that a little easier for a guy who's been in the league? I mean, do you feel a little more comfortable with that, with a guy who has been in the league before and gone through the process of getting ready for his season?
I think so, Chris. I think he's a player that's had a good amount of NFL game exposure. He's had a lot of reps going back through the spring and what we've gotten accomplished so far through training camp. So, yeah, of course, you don't want anybody to be missing action due to any injury or that type of thing, but he's done a nice job of staying very much engaged.
Kevin, can you explain why you went wide tackling this year, and will we see it again in training camp?
Yeah, I think every year, Tony, you're looking at what your football team needs, where you are from a bunch of different perspectives, and feel like that's was the thing that we wanted to do in a safe. It's also in a safe, controlled environment. So we've done it here before. It's something that we'll look at over the next couple of days, potentially doing again.
Speaking of looking over the next couple of days, I saw Dave Canales say that they plan on playing their starters the first couple of preseason games. Do you know yet what you guys?
Yeah, I have a pretty good feel for what we're going to do, but I want to, number one, talk to the team about it, and then also want to see how it goes over the next few days as well.
Doesn't that force your hand? The fact that he's playing?
No.
Do you guys usually cooperate as to?
Well, yeah, certainly cooperate in terms of the practice that we're going to have against each other, what we're going to do when we play each other. But Dave's going to do what he thinks is best for his team. I'll do the same for our team.
Kevin, do you anticipate narrowing the scope of this quarterback competition before you get to Carolina, or using that trip to Carolina to help inform that timeline?
Yeah, I think for all of our positions, every single day is an important part of getting ready for the season and part of the evaluation. So really at every position we'll use these next today, tomorrow, Monday, when we get down to Carolina. All of it is in an effort to get ready for week one and evaluate our players.
With the recent 3-day block, how much did you see the rookie QBs kind of take advantage of the extra snaps?
I think, I would say our entire rookie class is taking advantage of their reps. I've been impressed with this group. Going all the way back to the spring, I think they've worked extremely hard. We brought them in early for the early report to get extra reps even in that setting. So it's hard to narrow it to one position because I've been so impressed by the entire group.
Kevin, go ahead.
With Millie Collins, what do you think he adds to that interior of your D-line?
A veteran player that plays hard, very, very technique sound. He's made a few plays already in camp where you can kind of see his ability to run games and stunts is extremely high because he has so many reps at it. And I think that goes a long way with some of the young kids at that position as well.
He talked about working out with Mason in the break. How valuable can that be to a guy like Mason?
Yeah, that's invaluable. Having a guy that's been there, done that at a high level, can teach you all the tricks of the trade. And also, I give Malik a ton of credit just for his work ethic. Just watch him go out here, how hard he practices.
I'm ready for
Go ahead, Tony.
I'm ready for Larvin. Has on the end zone a number of times.
Yeah.
Has he opened the eyes of anybody? I mean, he's a sign of he's an undrafted free agent.
Yeah, I think he's done a nice job, Tony. I think Gage, like a lot of these rookies, but he's a very smart kid, so we can line him up all over. And then, in football, when you can catch the rock and make somebody miss, and those are things that get noticed. So he's been where he's supposed to be, which is a big part of being a rookie and understanding your role. But he's also made plays with the ball, so he's done a nice job.
What have you seen from a growth standpoint these last couple of years, and then obviously now with Jordan retiring, the injury to JOK, the opportunity opening up for him to kind of carve out a role this year?
Yeah, Mahmoud's a young player, but I've seen him get better each year. He's becoming more and more comfortable, and you see that, and maybe you hear that as a vocal leader, and when you're in the center of the defense making calls, I think shows you how much he understands this scheme and how comfortable he is in it. But I think he's progressing every single year, every single day. He's out here getting better and better.
Kevin, I don't think we've seen Grant in team drills the last few practices. Is he dealing with an injury right now?
He's limited. He's coming along, but he'll be fine.
Something minor?
Yeah.
I'll save Daniel the haven't asked a question, but any update on guys like Tevin and some of those guys who have been sort of like Grant out the last few days?
No real updates. Everybody is right where we need them to be. They're working hard. They're all on different timetables, but pleased with the progress everybody's making.
Anybody going to be back on the field today?
Kenny Pickett. Gave you that one.
Governed by the CBA?
No.
How do you feel like the guys took to live tank?
Yeah, did a nice job. Obviously, it's our job as coaches to put it in a controlled setting. It's not live on the quarterback, obviously, and there's still rules about that where you want to still take care of your teammates. Things that you would do in a game you wouldn't necessarily do, even in a live period versus your teammates. So the guys did a nice job.
Are we going to see the live tackling of the ground today and tomorrow?
Yeah, potentially. It's a really day-by-day basis of making decisions of what I think the team needs.
And did they know that was coming?
Yes.
Kevin, how do you see David and Harold maybe getting the most out of each other and David bringing Harold along?
Yeah, I think Dave's done a nice job as a teammate already, just with a young player, taking him under his wing and encouraging him and kind of, showing him the ropes, quote unquote. So that's encouraging. And, we like versatile football players. I think both those guys can be that for us. But, I think it's a really good balance between those two guys.
What's the reasoning for only one practice against Carolina as opposed to two?
Yeah, I have not done a week one practice versus teams before, Tony, so just felt like week one day was the right amount.
How do you feel about the youth players being here today?
Yeah, we love having youth football players out here. I remind our players all the time that they play a kid's game. They're blessed and fortunate and lucky to play a kid's game. I'm so lucky to coach this game, so we all can put ourselves in these kids' position. I remember going to training camp when I was a kid and what that feeling is like being around your heroes, so we love having these kids out here.
Good.
Okay, thank you guys.
Yep.
All right, that's Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski. The big headlines, what we thought. Kenny Pickett will be back today in limited fashion, Andrew, so we'll see what that means for him. We see him warming up right now, throwing the ball very well as he and Joe Flacco and Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, all four quarterbacks getting loose right now. And then the other is that, of course, he's got a plan for Carolina, and he's not going to share that with anybody. No. In fact, he says he hasn't even told the team yet.
Right, and I get that. He said he kind of knows what he wants to do in the first preseason game, but has not yet told the team. But he said that Dave Canales' decision to play at least some of his starters a week from tonight would not affect
Absolutely not.
Decision. It's really about the work during the week, and those coaches will coordinate, obviously, during the week. Because anything – look, the big thing with the joint practice is number one, doing it with a coach that shares a similar philosophy. You guys are going to practice the same way. You guys are on the same page. You like each other. You get along, right? And number two – just getting good work and keeping everyone healthy. So let's get there and do that. But the thing about Pickett, though, is you still get the opportunity, because he's not doing team today, for more reps for the two rookie quarterbacks.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's kind of the interpretation of what limited will be. We'll see exactly what we get out of Kenny Pickett. Cornerbacks going through their warm-ups right in front of us. Chiganuzium, number 35, a guy who stands to gain from the unfortunate injury to M.J. Emerson. Tony Brown out there as well. Miles Harden back. He'd missed a couple of days for personal reasons as well. We'll keep you posted on everything that we see going on here at the Cross Country Mortgage Campus, and we are going to hear from Dylan Gabriel. I got to go one-on-one with him before today's practice. Again, an impressive young man. You will come out of this interview, I think, feeling very good about him and certainly wanting to root for him here as the Browns' quest to find that franchise quarterback continues. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, an official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly.
Sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly.
Welcome back to Cleveland Brown Daily, presented by Bally Bet, an official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Very happy to be joined now by Browns quarterback Dylan Gabriel. And Dylan, it's great to see you again. How you been?
Great to see you. I'm good. I'm doing well.
All right, a weekend. We've had a weekend. Biggest difference between the NFL and college?
Yeah, I think more than anything, just things speed up. And I think for a college player transitioning to the NFL, there's hashes, there's rules, there's 2-minute rules that you have to be aware of. But most importantly, personnel-wise, there's the best of the best. But that's what you look forward to as a competitor, and things speed up. That's the rush. Linebackers being, very intelligent in understanding their leverage, and then corners and DBs just being super athletic. So I think the fun part, though, is, too, we got the same on our side. So a lot to learn and grow from, but all good things.
In college, I would have to imagine your favorite 2-minute rule is that if you get a first down, there's at least going to be a temporary pause of the clock.
For sure.
Whereas now it's crazy chaos, right?
Yeah, it's definitely different. And in college, you're thinking first down, touchdown, out of bounds. Here
first
there's
down
just
does not,
first down doesn't really apply.
Yards. Yeah, it's nice
it doesn't apply. So just got to understand what's more important, yards or, time on the clock.
You mentioned kind of the speed. Do you find that you have to be maybe more anticipatory with your throws in the sense, like in college, especially with the scheme you guys had in Oregon, just taking last year, and obviously you were successful in many, many places, but guys are pretty open a lot of the time. That is not as often the case here in the National Football League.
For sure. And I think, for any player, it's understanding your scheme and what you're trying to accomplish. But within plays, there's checks, there's alerts, that things that can get you to a certain progression a lot quicker. And I think just educating yourself, getting more comfortable with it, and then having it translate from the classroom to the field. I think that's important too. So any way we can continue to talk about it, one concept that can really get you to a certain route faster, I think that can all speed up your process on top of anticipating a certain throw within their, route.
How are you doing just with calling the plays in the huddle? I mean, that's a thing I think that everybody takes for granted, but you're learning a completely different language. You're not looking to the sideline. Everybody's not looking to the sideline. You have to go in there and basically tell everybody everything and actually not just say the words right, which is part of it, but know what they all mean.
Yeah, I think in college you're so used to a signal and that being your visualization of a concept and it coming into fruition, in a play. But, I joke around, but my fiance, she's really like, the best in terms of helping study and hearing something, saying it, but not only saying it and repeating it, but also being able to, paint a picture for yourself when you're walking up to the line of scrimmage. So she's been a big help on that, but that's just part of it. There's no way around it, just through. And the more reps you get at it, the more comfortable you get with it.
Do you guys do like flashcards and stuff?
Flashcards we've done. She gets the iPad, she's calling the plays, and then I'm, repeating it back. But the walkthroughs in the living room in front of the couch, or laying in bed, and I'm trying to visualize the whole thing. She's been very helpful with that.
I know you do not have the time right now, but in this season of quarterbacks, they go around with Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, and Joe Burrow. I don't know if you've seen any of it, but Jared Goff's been in the league a long time.
Yep.
He does the same thing with his wife, flashcards every week talking about it, because you have to have that complete mastery of it and the ability to communicate with such conviction that everybody in the huddle, A, knows what they're supposed to do, and B, believes that you know what they're supposed to do.
Well, the beauty in it is when you get to a point where you're just saying it and you're already thinking about the play, and can worry about what's going to happen, pre-snap, then you eliminate all stress of calling a play.
How much different is it for you pre-snap in terms of the ownership that you have and the ability to make the checks and kind of dictate, you said, get to the concepts that are going to work based on the looks that you're seeing?
Well, thank goodness for Oregon. I think early in my career at UCF and Oklahoma, we sacrificed maybe longer play calls and getting into the right call with tempo. So with tempo, you get people not being set, maybe a lot less coverage variation.
Sure.
But, at Oregon, we kind of played with alerts, kills, cans, the whole
That's
nine.
helpful.
And then, a longer play call to get in, advantage check. So that's been a good help for me in my transition to the NFL, but definitely needed, and glad I got, both sides of the, offense.
Yeah, when you come in with a fellow rookie, as you have with Shedeur, and he, I don't think, had some of those experiences that you did, and I'm sure you've been able to help, and Joe's been able to help, and Kane's been able to help, but I don't think people realize what a change it is. Everybody thinks about, when you watch, for example, you watch all 22 tape, you're watching the game in complete silence. Yep. You get to kind of see what the quarterback sees, how they react to the play itself. But there is so much that goes into the National Football League for sure. And you said you got some of this at Oregon before the ball's ever snapped from the time that the play's called in. And that's why they try to get the play in quick. So you have that time to play that cat and mouse game often with the mic. That not having that experience, that's such a big part of this game that you can't see on tape.
For sure, and it's important, I think, in order to get yourself into advantage checks and calls to where you're running against things you want to run against, right? And I think we do a great job of it, but more importantly, just the reps we get at it, everyone's getting better at it, and you can see that.
What's been your favorite concept so far?
I think I'll keep it as simple as passing the ball. I love throwing it, but I think we've done a great job of consistently marrying the both run and the pass. And I think we've been extremely versatile without it being too much and too heavy on a lot of guys. So you can see a lot of guys just go and play. But I'm just very appreciative that we have that. We're very thoughtful of how we name our concepts, kind of build our whole offense, and it makes it easy for us. When we hear a word, it triggers a thought and a visualization. But for me, I think any of the 3-level pass, and a lot of the progression game that we've obviously done pretty good at thus far.
And you've done great on what we call keepers here, right?
Yep.
And move in the pocket, and you're very comfortable on the run. We saw that certainly watching your tape. But when did you get so proficient going right as a left-handed quarterback? Because that's the thing, obviously, for right-handed quarterbacks. How can they go left in those keeper games? Because you need to keep the defense honest with it.
Yeah, I think, just being a lefty and in high school, college, obviously my whole life, but in maybe a right-handed game, our coaches that I've been, coached from,
call those boots
they're
right.
calling it right, and they're not thinking, once about it. So I just adjust, and I've done it all my life. So it's been pretty helpful for me to go right, go left, and they always say you got to be able to go, each side to, really keep the defense honest.
You had one a couple days ago where you went right, flipped the hips, and hit Jerry Jeudy. That was just a beautifully executed play, and you seem very comfortable, obviously, on the move both directions.
For sure. I think that's another thing that I love about what we do is moving the pocket, but most importantly, just moving the launch point. And the NFL's got a bunch of great defensive linemen or guys who rush the quarterback, and I think anytime you can make them uncomfortable with your cadence, your launch points, but also just the versatility. You got to do that consistently.
One change I would imagine from college is that, I'm going to guess, I could be wrong, I don't know Oregon's roster that well or Oklahoma's or UCF's, but have you ever had a 6'6" center before?
I have had a lot of tall tackles, but not a 6'6" center.
Sometimes you're like, Ethan, get down a little bit.
Yeah, I've had 6'9" tackles, 6'10". I've luckily been able to play with 3 first-round tackles, so been around some good old linemen for sure.
Some big dudes. Is that anything that you've noticed from in the pocket? Just you making sure you get your depth because you've got such massive humanity in front of you, or making sure that obviously there was one where they did a great job. They blocked kind of inside from the inside and down, kicked out, and you had a nice slant that you were able to get that throwing lane.
Yeah, I think it all runs up with your pass pro and your protections. There's going to be a short side or a slide side and a man side. With those full slides, usually you're moving the pocket anyways to create a throwing lane. So, I think it's fancy when people say, oh, quarterbacks are creating throwing lanes, but for the most part, in protection, you get that to happen with, whether defensive line games or you got a slide side, you got a man side. So just depends how it mirrors up with your concepts.
I feel like you're liking the one where we look like it's a pull action, but he's actually coming to block the backside for you.
Yes, sir.
That's a fun concept.
100%.
You like that. All right, you guys go live. So you may not know this, or maybe somebody did tell you. That's the first time since Kevin Stefanski has been here that we have had a live period in a training camp.
Really?
So this is obviously a very different camp. Is he talking about callous the mind, callous the body? You went out there. You had a beautiful timing on the screen to Harold Fannin, the rookies hooking up, and then Gage Larvidan weaving, bobbing, getting in the end zone. The team goes nuts. How good did it feel kind of in real football to lead the team down for a touchdown?
Yeah, it feels good. I think it's hard to be able to create, momentum in some of these periods in practice because it's 4-play racks. Are you truly getting a move the ball type period? And whenever you can, kind of get that move the ball period going, you can create rhythm, you can create flow and momentum for the offense. And I think you saw that within our move the ball period.
So it's a weekend. How much more comfortable do you feel now than if I had done this before day one of training camp?
Different a little bit, and that's just the unknown. But I think, for me, it's now just getting comfortable with the unknown. And, I've never played in a preseason game or, my first season game. So there's a lot of things you learn on the fly. But that's why you ask the vets a bunch of questions and make sure you ask the right ones so that you can, figure out what's the best way to proceed.
How excited are you to get some reps next week coming up, travel to Charlotte, take on the Carolina Panthers and a defense that doesn't know everything that you're doing, doesn't know every concept, doesn't know every look, and maybe get a little bit more of a fair for the offense type of a feel out there?
Yeah, I think it's fun. This is what we live for as competitors. This is why you do it. We love practice, we love grinding, but ultimately it's a results-based business, and you go out there and you show what you can do. So I think a lot of guys are excited to do that. We are as an offense, we are as a defense, but collectively as a unit and as a team, I think we're really excited to go make it happen.
Well, we're certainly excited. It's been a lot of fun watching you out here so far in training camp. Next week we'll get to Charlotte, see you against the Panthers, and your first preseason game should be a lot of fun. Dylan, thanks so much for the time. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, that's Browns rookie quarterback Dylan Gabriel. Again, impressive young man. I liked some of his answers there and gave a little peek behind the curtain that at Oregon he did get to do some of these things. And when you talk about, some people thought he was more prepared from, certain procedural or mechanical issues and perhaps Shador coming out of Colorado, that's a big insight into why that is.
Yeah, look, they spread the ball around certainly at Oregon, but Will Stein runs a lot of pro concepts there. And they ran the ball. They did play action. He was under center, not all the time, but there's enough experience in there, and obviously in shotgun mostly at Oklahoma. But he has seen a lot. And when you're a rookie, it helps if you've at least been in that pool a little bit, right? You're familiar with some of the different strokes you need in the pool, so to speak. He had that. So you're naturally a little bit a step ahead. At the same time, it's different than seeing it on the screen and on the cut-ups and on the install and actually going out there and doing it live. But he is getting better every day. I think actually both of the rookie quarterbacks, they are getting better every day.
Yes.
And that's the takeaway here, which is it would be the headline if it were the other way around.
100%. By the way, we need the G-Man here just so he can police the parties that are happening while professionals are trying to broadcast a radio show. Just one man's opinion. All right, we will be back with hour number 2 of Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, an official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Right after this, please bet responsibly. Attention Browns fans, Barking Backers, the official dog fan club of the Cleveland Browns, is back for the 2025 season. Get your pup in on the action with exclusive gear, events, and more. Memberships are available right now. Fetch yours today or gift a membership to a furry friend at barkingbackers.com. Barking Backers is presented by Milkbone and in association with Embrace Pet Insurance and Pet Supplies Plus. Hour number 2 of Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the Cleveland Browns. Right now, position group drills are happening, Andrew. We have not gotten into any type of team periods at all position group work right now. The corners right in front of us, the safeties rather, working on catching the ball, diving backwards, making acrobatic catches, and they've done a good job of that thus far. All right, let's go quickly around the league. NFC East, disgruntled stars, starting with Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin. He has requested a trade per Adam Schefter. He is seeking a contract extension and is unhappy with how talks with the team have progressed. I've said it many times. I think he is very appropriately compensated based on what he's paid and what he's produced. He's one of the top, I think, 15 paid receivers in the NFL.
Yeah,
top
no,
12,
but he's making 15.
Right
he's
there.
Making 15 this year. Top wide receivers make 30 these days, right? So
is he a top wide receiver?
Is he? You tell me. Is he?
I think he's top 15, top 20 in the league.
Sure. I think he's top 10 to 12 in the league. I love Terry McLaurin.
I do too. I think he's an excellent player, but he's about to turn 30.
I understand that. But I also think that Terry McLaurin has been – look, I grew up there, right?
Yep.
Terry McLaurin has been the face of the franchise.
Yep.
And like an upstanding member of the community. And through all the dark days, that franchise lost a generation of fans. Terry McLaurin was like the guiding light through the storm in that community. And I know that doesn't – you can't think about that when you're a front office and you got other mouths to feed and you say, well, he's 30. That guy can still play. Turn on his game.
No doubt.
Year, he can still play. Turn on the postseason when he was in the end zone every single week. Last season, when they finally got back to the postseason because they got their quarterback right with the second overall pick. I am Team Terry McLaurin, and I do think if there are organizations out there that will pay a guy for past performance, understanding that he's getting older, and you may not get peak level, but you're still a massive part of this team, I am for Terry McLaurin. He needs to be paid just my money, not mine rather, more than 15. But the issue is the wide receiver market has exploded so much that where's the middle ground? Where is the upper middle class for wide receivers? If you're not going to go Jamar Chase 40, right?
Yeah, and
you're not going to go 35.
I think he's in it. I mean, his cap number is $25.5 million.
Okay, but we're talking cash this year. He's making 15 this year.
His base is 15. He got 5.6 in a prorate signing bonus.
Understand all that.
He's got a lot of money.
Okay, if Cortland Sutton's making 23,
okay,
what should Terry McLaurin make?
23.
Okay, fine. But
Terry McLaurin,
not 15.
Listen, Terry McLaurin, well, I mean, I'm sure they're saying you're getting $25.5 million, which is the semantics of. But he's got roster bonus of $3 million. He's got game bonus
semantics.
of $800,000. Like he's doing all right.
Let's spin it forward. You saw Denzel's tweet last night, right?
Yep.
Denzel Ward said,
I would love
get
Terry
him
McLaurin.
Sure.
Here. Of course he makes our team better.
Yeah, but of course, also look at what the Commanders are not going to trade him. So let's just say this to Browns fans: it's not going to happen. I've heard people say the Steelers, they have spent so much cash, and while technically with $17 million in cap space, they could find a way to massage the numbers, and they have maybe even 3 third-round picks next year. I don't know that the Steelers are going to write that check. I don't think the Commanders would ever give him up. He's not going anywhere.
The Commanders should keep him, and
Absolutely.
he should want to play with Jaden Daniels. I mean, here's kind of just – so, yes, 5 straight years of 1,000 yards. Never had a 1,200-yard season. Last year, 13 touchdowns, career high. Kind of an anomaly, I think is fair to say.
He finally got a quarterback, man.
So that's what I'm saying. So why do you want to go run away?
You don't want to run away, but at the same time, you'd like a paycheck.
3 previous seasons, he had 14 touchdowns total. He had 13 last year.
Name the quarterbacks.
Doesn't matter.
It does matter.
It does not matter. It doesn't matter. There are plenty of quarterbacks or wide receivers that are elite that produce regardless of who the quarterback is.
Yeah. You mean when the quarterback is skipping the ball to him?
I'm not saying that. Obviously, he was productive. Sure. I'm just saying I think if you're turning 30, you're a number one.
You don't think
But
he
I don't know
deserves
if
a bump.
if the league was redrafted right now, what he wants, I think he's being compensated appropriately.
You
I
understand,
think what
though,
he wants
he's
is
at the end of
another
his-
contract.
Yes, he wants
Yeah.
another contract.
Which if I was him, I would want that too.
And I think they'd be willing to give it to him. The question is, where does the number
But if I
come
in my mind, if they were offering him, and I have no idea what they're offering. Let's say they're offering him, in addition to this, 2 more years for $40 to $45 million. I think that is totally fair.
I don't know what the offer is. Who knows what the offer is?
Right, but to me, if he's wanting 30 plus, I don't know that I'm willing to go there.
Oh, I don't know that I would go to 30, but
He's
if
really good.
If I'm him, I'd like that number above 25.
He's
Look at the
really
market.
good. Yes.
He's really good.
Yes.
Look at Trey Hendrickson, for example. His age begins with a 3 as well. I understand Trey Hendrickson has led the league in sacks collectively the last 2 years. I get it. I totally get it. Right? But the Bengals are going, we have you under contract. Your age begins with a 3. I don't know, man. Do we really have to pay you? And you would say, Nathan, well, you have Joe Burrow. Don't you want to go play with those guys? I mean, that's what you just said for Terry.
Well, it's a little bit different. They're tied. A receiver's catching the football from said quarterback.
Understand.
And, by the way, they were a team that last year, and I might have this totally wrong, but I'm pretty sure they played in the NFC Championship game.
They
so
did.
if you want to win, you're in a good spot with a quarterback on a rookie deal. I'm sure you want to get more money, but what's the ultimate goal? They just gave him a 3-year deal for $69 million, so 23 average a year on that extension that he signed.
Yeah.
I think was more than fair compensation.
I get it. And he's in the final year of that deal.
Right.
He would like a new contract.
Of course he would.
No veteran wants to go into the final year of his contract.
No, and
Okay?
I don't
None.
blame them for that one bit.
It's what is the number?
So here's the thing. So you look at the average of the contract he's on right now, $23 million a year. The only people making more than him, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, DK Metcalf, Garrett Wilson, A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Brandon Ayuk, Tyreek Hill, T. Higgins, Jalen Waddle, DJ Moore, Devontae Smith, Nico Collins.
We're going to blow through the next break. You have so many names
Debo
here.
Samuel, 15.
Okay. Debo's his teammate.
Well, Debo signed that contract with the Niners, right? Or did he sign that with them?
No, he signed with the Niners. Who's the better player?
I would have said prior to last year, Debo Samuel.
Okay. Who's the better player today?
Terry McLaurin.
Okay.
But they didn't sign. That would be saying apples to apples. So
I get it. Terry McLaurin deserves another contract, and he should be well compensated. This is me speaking.
He's making more money than Devontae Adams. He's
Great.
making more money than Mike Evans.
He's younger than Devontae Adams. He's younger than Mike Evans. You're making faces.
I know they're not even. I don't even think they're in the same stratosphere.
You don't like Terry McLaurin.
I think Terry McLaurin is a. I think Terry McLaurin being compensated as the 16th best receiver in the NFL is very appropriate.
Well, it's time to do his new deal. So how do you do the new deal?
By the way, he is the only person his age or at his age on the list above him being compensated more than him in the entire NFL is Tyreek Hill, and that's like apples and tacos.
Have you ever had a taco with an apple?
I've had like an empanada.
Okay.
With
They
apple
had
as a dessert.
They had cherry vanilla pancakes this morning in the cafe.
Ooh.
Oh, that sounds good.
Where the cherries baked into the pancakes. I was not sold on.
Way to change the convo. I love that.
Well, you said apples to tacos.
No, that's good.
I just think ultimately, big picture, I get why he wants a contract.
Yeah.
And to me, if they offered him another 2 years at $23 million, I think he should be thrilled with that. I think they should be. I think everybody should be thrilled with that. If the reports are that he wants 30, to me that's more than I want.
I don't know that he wants 30. I'm saying any wide receiver that thinks they are top tier, and Terry McLaurin would think he is top tier. Now the math begins with a 3. Now, if you come in at 27. That's different. I think that's a different conversation. I would listen to that if I'm him.
The only person in their 30s making 30 a year is Tyreek Hill, who is more first-team All-Pros than I think anybody on this list.
Yeah, I don't think I thought it was a mistake by the Dolphins.
Well, last year it wasn't good, but 2 years before that he had, back-to-back 1,700-yard years?
Sure.
He was quite good. It's one of those, it's a tough one because I think he's being paid fairly. I think I understand his side of it completely. I understand their side of it as well. I think his problem is they brought in Debo, and he liked being the guy. And I still think he should be the guy over Debo at this point.
His problem is his deal is up, and it's time for a new contract, and they can't agree on the number. I don't think Debo is the problem.
So if he goes and he plays well, can he make even more?
Nobody of his stature wants to go out and play the final year of his contract.
All right. So I'm curious. Okay, so you say of his stature. Who is of his stature in their 30s?
No,
you said
I'm saying no veteran who is thought of as like Terry McLaurin wants to head into their walk year at that age, right?
Yes.
You all want you want your next contract.
Oh, totally.
Right.
Totally.
So give it to me now. He thinks he's he's earned it.
I think he's earned it.
And I'm
100%.
What we can't agree on is what the number should be. I'm with you. Like, if it's 26, 27, do it. You don't think it should be that high.
It doesn't. To me, whatever. As long as you're in the mid-20s, I think that's totally fine. I would be curious as to why Mike Evans has never been compensated more than that. What is
Mike
mindset?
Evans has got multiple deals. Like, he might be on his 5th contract.
He's only 2 years. I mean, Terry McLaurin's going to be 34 this season.
Not 34.
All of one game. Mike Evans is 32.
Okay.
To me, he's on – Mike Evans, for his career, is on a completely different level.
Obviously.
We'll take a break. I'd love to see Terry
McLaurin
what? Be a
Let's
Cleveland
hold.
Brown.
We're on one-on-one.
All right, we got some one-on-ones going on. We'll take a break. We'll give you some highlights right here. Greg Newsome almost picking off a pass.
Just keep
it.
Don't break, buddy.
What? Don't break?
Don't break.
Don't break.
Don't break. Then we'll keep rolling. Every rule in radio. Let's go.
All right. So here we
go.
go.
You want to bring Bernie in?
All right, we got Joe Flacco.
Bernie,
Bernie, throw on a headset. Now we got some action
Joe
here.
Flacco to Jamari Thrash here. Working against Cam Mitchell.
And he's had a nice camp. And he's somebody, listen, when you look at our receiver room, this is why as soon as you hear the name Terry McLaurin and Denzel Ward wisely saying we would love him here, and definitely we would love Terry McLaurin here, you got Jerry Jeudy, and then you don't have as much kind of behind him. Deontay Johnson is at this point trying to prove that he is who he once was. Jamari Thrash was a later round pick a year ago. And now you're looking at trying to get, Cedric Tillman, who we saw glimpses of last season, that 3-game stretch as a third-round pick. You're trying to see more out of him. Now, Kenny Pickett here is participating in these one-on-ones. DeAndre Carter, who's shown a little more as a receiver, I think, than maybe the Browns thought early on in camp with a nice move on Miles Harden for a completion from Pickett.
And some good zip there from Kenny, taking a shotgun snap from equipment director Corey.
Nice to see Kenny Pickett back in the action, and good to be with you guys today,
hey,
brothers.
Bernie, that was a good. Kenny Pickett looks healthy to me. That was a good. That was a good ball right there. Little over Caden Davis's head, but certainly ripping it as we see Dylan Gabriel now. Cade McDonald on a stop route on the outside. Good coverage from Anusian, but a better ball. That's the one that you talked to quarterbacks. Kenny Pickett, didn't he say that's his favorite route to throw?
Yeah, the stop, comeback route, and listeners out there, Nathan, to your point, Kenny does look like his hamstring looks significantly better. He's got his legs under him. Overthrowing a bow out like that early on his throws was with good velocity.
Gabriel to Luke Floria right there, a good ball. Stop Deontay Johnson. His ability to create separation, I think, is one of the stories of this camp. I really do. I like everything that we have seen from them working on the new member of the Cleveland Browns, the cornerback Isaac.
There's a little bit of talk about Deontay Johnson and some of the stuff he did or didn't do in OTAs and stuff, and you're so right. To see the separation and route running that he's doing in the initial stages of training camp, love to see that continue into the Carolina-Philadelphia preseason week.
One of the things that I think tells you a lot about how people view him. Oh, interception right there for Cam Mitchell. Shador was trying to throw the fade, but Cam Mitchell actually ran the route better than his receiver there. But going back to that Deontay Johnson, do you see the first person who came up and dapped him up on the sideline was there?
No, I did not.
Denzel Ward.
There you go.
Yeah. So when Denzel's saying, yeah, that was that's where the game recognized game component of it, right, Bernie?
Yeah, absolutely. To see the mutual respect from the defensive back on that. I got a little lost, and I'm not trying to cover for Shador on the fade throw, but I would lose my mind with route running and that type release. So young receivers, you got to help the quarterbacks out on a press fade. You are supposed to go break that up and get position. And Nathan,
that's a ball that wouldn't be thrown if this wasn't one-on-ones because the TB was running the route.
All right, Kenny Pickett in the screen game here. Denzel Ward blowing up a Jerry Jeudy block and getting into the backfield there on Carter.
He's
Love
done
that
every time in this
Love
drill.
that. We should also point out the new numbers. You mentioned the new corner Keenan Isaac is wearing 38, and the new wide receiver is out there as well. Chase Cota is wearing 81. If you're scoring at home. Mike Wood's old number.
Yeah, he's an 81 and replaced Mike Woods, ironically. Better job right there from Jerry Jeudy. They said go get another rep on that block. He gets it, Deontay Johnson. This is a good drill here because you're forcing your wide receivers. You want to play in this offense, you've got to be able to block and Gage Lardovan with a nice block on the far side of the field there.
Yeah, Nathan, he took the words right out of my mouth, coupled with first live hitting the other day, and now this basically live contact post one-on-one drills early in practice with DBs and receivers that typically don't get a lot of contact. This is great for the receivers to learn to block, but also the DBs to be able to press and attack these bubble screens.
Well, Bernie, the game has changed so much, too. A wide receiver, there's almost no offense in this league where wide receivers are not asked to block, whether it's on the perimeter or whether, like some teams, even inside runs.
Yeah, absolutely. The good running teams on inside runs, everybody's always blocking. I just think it's impressive / an anomaly to see that actual contact on August 1st, on a Friday practice. That's impressive.
There are a couple things about this. Number one, every team in the league, it feels like, runs these bubble screens as a part of their RPO game, and so it's good to get practice on defending it. But there were many, many years here with the Cleveland Browns. I know certainly early in Kevin Stefanski's tenure when Alex Van Pelt, we did not run any of it. Mm-hmm. It wasn't even in our playbook at all, and sometimes those are easy yards. So at least this shows that you're going to have that optionality in your playbook this year.
Yeah.
So I have a really big philosophical belief on that. And you absolutely, on remedial teams, you got to take those bubble screens. You got to take those easy yards.
Yes.
It's sometimes, though, in the high school college game and in the remedial pro game of teams where you don't trust your quarterback, it becomes sometimes too much of a crux.
Yep.
When you are worried about the line or you're worried about somebody, so you sometimes create demons within it. So you should use it strategically, but man, that's not when the game's on the line. And actually why I had such a respect for Kenny Pickett, and I had to bite my tongue in the Kenny Pickett interview on the Matt Canada days at the end of the Ben Roethlisberger and early Kenny Pickett days. They were bubble screen monsters, and that's offensive death.
But Bernie, there is a fair point to be made there, and there's proper context on the Kenny Pickett acquisition that you're going down that road right there. There is a belief that this system, the support here for Kenny Pickett, you can get a better version of Kenny Pickett than what you saw in Pittsburgh. And that is a valid point to make. That's not Steeler hate. That's just knowing football.
Yeah, unequivocally, I see that. I mean, I'm actually impressed he has a winning record with that many positive W's as opposed to losses. Running an offense, that's not at all suited for him. So this offense is suited for him. I know he hasn't done this yet, but from his perspective, from an individual standpoint for him, I could see why he's excited and wants to be here.
So this is the number 2 offense against the number 1 defense. Dylan Gabriel at quarterback there, and they're practicing kind of backed up.
Love you.
Yes, thank you.
I'm sorry, it's like game day. I'm yelling down to Gerard's. Hey, let's.
Number 2 offense, number 1 defense, and their practice is situational football where you're backed up near your own goal line trying to come out of those situations. Alex Wright is at the left defensive end, Myles Garrett right defensive end, Mason Graham, and it looked like Sam Kamara was next to him. Actually, Shelby Harris is next to him on that defensive line.
I mean, we may as well be in the Washington booth here. That's so far.
Yeah,
it's Nathan, you're tall. I can't see a thing.
All right, that's an inside handoff, and there was a big hole for Dylan Sampson. He was shot out of a cannon through it. That would have been a big gainer, and I guarantee Jim Schwartz is not going to be happy with whatever went wrong on that play when you have a team backed up and you let them just run the ball out of it. That would have been a chunk run right there.
And you notice we're a few days into hitting, a few days into live contact, the disparity between that awesome defense and defensive line that was so disruptive to our offensive production and our offensive consistency. It's one of the first times early on we've really mashed them on an inside run for an explosive play.
Cam Mitchell in the slot, Gabriel in the shotgun looking, comes back to the middle. drills it in, and right
Luke
there,
Floria
was
got
that Rayshon Jenkins
popped.
with a huge hit on Luke. Was that Luke Floria?
It was Luke Floria. I can
who
see
hung
that.
on to the ball miraculously so, but he is slow to get up, and in fact, he is back down on the ground. And now he's up walking off. Jenkins goes over and apologizes.
He took a good hit.
That was a good hit, and that was a bang play.
Jenkins hit him, and it was like,
oh, I'm sorry.
My bad, dude.
Yes.
Yeah,
I did not mean to lay you out like that.
Rayshon Jenkins has been in the league a long time. He is a physical safety, and you certainly saw that right there.
I wanted to say I'm watching Dylan Gabriel on that play. Nice throw, nice-ish timing, but he initially, when the read was outside flat, 2 guys out, third read inside, going tardy inside like that, good location. Unbelievable job by Luke, but that's the type of issues that happen over the middle.
All right, now it's the 1 offense against the 2 defense, Andrew. Joe Flacco under center, play action drops, got Judy on a comebacker, and
over his head.
Sailed it well over his head there.
Hey, Bernie, can I go back to that last one? Is that one of those ones where a cranky Tom Brady would have said in the booth, like, if I can't do that as a young quarterback, I'm going to get my guy killed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you really don't want to go late over the middle like that. It's condensed. The field's condensed in, and
can't be late, and you can't be.
And
high
I hate
over
to
the
say it
middle of the
like this: there's a couple things that happen bad. Is one, you could get your guy killed, or a worse problem, it could be tipped and intercepted. So
yep.
Neither one is very festive.
Flacco under center here. Stretch handoff to the right to Jerome Ford. Had a little bit of daylight there around the right side for a few-yard pickup.
You know, that was reminding me, I looked but to the other side of the field. The first play of team drill the other day where Joe ran the bootleg to the right off of that same action and hit the over route 20 yards downfield. Just a nice, solid run like that. And Joe Flacco, again, year 18, trending towards 41 years of age. And he's carrying out his fake out the backside. Like, I actually thought he had it.
All right, Flacco looks like in the shotgun here, Andrew. DeJuan Jones, by the way, back out there at left tackle. It was heat-related last week. Flacco looking to his right. Just get rid of it to Deontay Johnson.
Nice in cut. Man, he is shifty.
He is.
He still has it. He still has that short area quickness in and out of breaks, and certainly after he gets the ball to make that first guy miss. Look, fingers crossed. You get a good version of Deontay Johnson for as long as you can, because he is a weapon. Listen, if, and I'm going to keep saying if, he still has it.
Yeah, he was the Panthers' leading receiver at the time that situation unraveled last year.
He chose to move on.
He chose to move on.
They chose to move on.
All right, now we got Shedeur Sanders in there. Looks like it's got to be the 3s.
Shotgun.
Got
it out quick.
Yep, showed a little RPO there. The inside handoff, kept the eyes down the field, threw it out to the outside to hit. It was becoming quickly a very popular target. Gage Lardavan with a nice catch there. So Kenny Pickett, as you mentioned earlier, not getting any work in the team drills. It's been Dylan Gabriel with the 2s, Flacco with the 1s, and now Shedeur Sanders with the 3s. And, you know, just like a quarterback would do, right, when there's an injury and a new player comes in the game, you want to test that new cornerback.
Yeah.
That's the new member, Isaac, the newest cornerback on the Cleveland Browns, and Shedeur went right at him on his first play.
Can I give you some breaking news? Micah Parsons has requested a trade.
We didn't even get that far in our NFC East unhappiness.
He just dropped a three-page tweet.
Micah Parsons wants out.
Well, Micah Parsons, Terry McLaurin, all of you, come on to Cleveland.
He wants out right up
discount.
until he gets the money that he wants, and then he's all back in.
Wow.
Well, I think the way that Jerry Jones handled that press conference absolutely had to rankle him and make him unhappy.
Jerry has done that 1,000 times, though.
No doubt.
Like Dak said, or even CeeDee Lamb said. Yeah, we do this every summer.
Yep.
Yeah. Move on. Don't get used to it. Or get used to it, but don't engage if you're Micah. Like, just back away. Anyway, back to practice.
Back to the ranch.
Well, since you brought that up, I am such a huge, in the spirit of Browns and the spirit of Marty Schottenheimer, whose aura rests upon this. I feel terrible for his son, Brian, the head coach. He does not need that in his first year as the Cowboys head coach.
In rhythm there, what you want to see a little bit of Shedeur in structure. Nice slant, good velocity on that one to Gage Lardavan for another completion there. And that was a solid session for the offense.
Absolutely. And was that Donovan McMillan, the undrafted rookie safety?
Yeah,
who's
had a couple of those. He's had a couple of good hits so far.
He looks the part, certainly.
He does. He's a guy that, our safety coach, Coach Bonda, actually recruited him to the University of Miami when he was still there.
Mhm.
So he's very familiar with him, very excited that he is in. And now the Browns looks like they're going to get into some special teams work. Bubba Ventrone getting them going in the field right in front of us. Quarterbacks are going to be on the other field doing some throwing drills. And we are going to take a break. We'll be back with more Cleveland Browns Daily presented by Ballybet live from Browns Training Camp, practice number 8, Cross Country Mortgage Campus in Berea. Elk and Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO for your free case review. Elk and Elk is a proud partner of the Cleveland Browns. Go Browns. Had some special teams work there. Nathan Segura alongside the play-by-play voice of your Cleveland Browns, Andrew Siciliano, and Browns legend Bernie Kosar. That was a physical special teams one-on-one period right there with some big hits. The fullback Hairston decking Carson Schlesinger on one. But now we're about to get back into some team work here. That is the one defense. Looks like this is going to be one-on-ones. Starters on offense, starters on defense. You got Diabate, Schlesinger, and Bush. Base defense for the Browns. Shelby Harris is next to Mason Graham. I haven't seen Malik Collins. Maybe he's getting a vet day off here today. But it is Joe Flacco in the shotgun on first down, thrown to his right. Jerry Jeudy working on Denzel Ward. And it's not a live tackling period, just kind of a touch-up there, but a quick ball out to Jerry Jeudy.
Tell you what, that's been one of the most fun matchups all through camp, those two, every day.
Denzel
every day.
is playing.
And they're sharpening
Yes.
each other. Both of them are making each other better. Those two will be ready for the regular season. I don't think those are two guys we got to worry about. But, back to that awesome hit, and I feel hypocritical here to the awesome special teams period, and liking the contact that we've been doing the last couple days in particular. But, man, we can't afford Carson Schlesinger, and he's a rookie. And I don't mind rookies at times getting a little extra physicalness in them. But we don't need him to be the recipient to get hurt on special teams play.
We certainly don't, but I think just as Dylan Sampson was called out for not having his pads low enough when Carson Schlesinger was the one doing the hitting, I guarantee that Bubba Ventrone will say something similar to him after that special teams drill there.
Absolutely.
Pass rush, you had a great push up the middle, Shelby Harris, Mason Graham, and then on the edge was Alex Wright working as that star. And the Browns really have a nice three-person competition, Andrew, for that starting end opposite Myles Garrett. Tryon Shoyinka, Alex Wright, Isaiah McGuire. Good news, all of them are going to play, and all of them are going to be fresh when they do so.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm also kind of bullish and curious as to what Isaiah McGuire does to step up his pass rush game this year.
Yep.
Because we know he can play the run. He certainly proved that the second half of last year. Look at the numbers. Can he get to the quarterback? Can he go? Look, Myles Garrett's going to get double teams. Someone's got to eat on that other side. You have to take advantage of one-on-ones on the other side. Can Isaiah get there?
Yeah, on the other side and on the interior. Mason Graham, Mike Hall when we get him back out here, Malik Collins, Shelby Harris. Joe Flacco in the shotgun. They try to run play on the last one that was stuffed up pretty quickly. Sends Luke Florian short motion from his right. Quick one
Deep
going down the field. Greg
Broken
Newsome
up.
in great position there. Breaks it up. But is he a little shaken up? He grabbed his hamstring, it looked like.
He is a little
on
shaken
his
up.
left side. And he is on the ground. And certainly the Browns cannot afford to lose another corner. Greg's had some soft tissue injuries. He's up, but he certainly is slow to get up there, and hopefully he is okay. Great position on that ball, working one-on-one with Jerry Jeudy right there, Bernie. And so far the Browns corners have stayed on top of those fades and not allowed that vertical shot or any real place for the quarterback to throw the ball other than to the back shoulder.
Yeah, being a hypercritical old quarterback here and then reflecting on Coach Stefanski and some of the analytics to go towards the success rate of throwing downfield fades, it's imperative that you get really good releases. And I love Jerry Jeudy, but that was not one of them. So from a quarterback perspective, you really don't want to go that direction with it as much as I love the fades.
All right, Flacco sends Jeudy in motion from the shotgun this time. Going to come back to the left side, a crosser there. Got Blake Whiteheart, it appeared. Nice little sidearm flick of the wrist from Joe Flacco there, and a good gain for the Browns. Deontay Johnson starting to get a lot more run with the first team, and justifiably so.
As well he should. You could tell even in mandatory minicamp when I don't know that he was in shape, football shape. He had just gotten here. You can tell he's different. You can tell that this is a guy that was a Pro Bowler and put up big seasons. You could see it immediately.
And to add to that, I think a guy who wants to stay in the league and realizes that his opportunities now to stay in the league are going to dissipate without success here. So he's athleticism. I believe he's ready to play. And then he wants to stay here. And I think that's, from a Browns perspective, we're going to benefit from that.
I remember talking to Denzel and MJ Emerson, and they both told me that at the time, a few years ago, it was MJ's rookie year, that he was the toughest guy to cover one-on-one in the league.
Because of his release?
His releases and just his route running, his ability to change direction. Dylan Gabriel now with the twos out there. Quick throw out to the left to Harold Fannin, who's had an incredible camp. First play, though, something procedurally happened. They had to blow that one dead, get back into the huddle, and do it again. That's going to happen, obviously, Bernie. A lot to learn as you come to the NFL level playing quarterback.
Yeah, the pre-snap penalties from under center are annoyingly punishing for the team, the coaches and stuff. You know, I talked about this the other day. We talked about it on air and off air. Boy, do I love the tight ends and Harold Fannin and what he's been doing. David Njoku, no doubt. But that 12 personnel, the Harold Fannin for a rookie is going to be a big part of this regular offense.
All right, he's got man coverage. He knows it goes to the outside a little too wide there for Gage Lardovan. They sent Floria in motion. The nickel followed him across the formation. Some updates on Greg Newsome. He's trying to just work it out there.
His left shoulder, it looks like.
Shoulder, it looks like. Better than leg. I'll take that for sure.
I've got more for you. I've got Denzel down on one knee. They've got both his shoes off, and he keeps playing with his right foot.
Yeah, they're looking at his left shoulder for Greg Newsome. You're absolutely right about that.
He landed hard. I just looked at the replay. He landed pretty hard on that shoulder.
So Ward, maybe it's
hopefully that is a lot better than him grabbing that lower left leg, which is what it appeared. Maybe he was just trying to rock himself up from there. Good ball from Dylan Gabriel there. Again, quick, decisive in the pocket, out to the right side. And, you know, for a lefty so far, he's really kind of been able to work both sides of the field. That was a check down to his fullback, Hairston, right there. Yeah, this is a cornerback room that, with the loss of M.J. Emerson, who, by the way, is on the road to recovery, which is wonderful to hear. Just texted with him today, and every day he said, can't wait to come back and overcome this. He's on his way back, but obviously out for this year, and you need Greg Newsome. He's in a contract year as well.
Yeah. Look, 48 hours ago is your deepest position. Fair to say? We agree?
Certainly your top. It was maybe the best. Your top
maybe
three
D-line.
were your best.
Maybe D-line was your deepest position.
48
hours ago is the position about which you had no concerns. How about that?
100% agreed that you felt great about. Interception right there. Dylan Gabriel, I don't know who he was looking for. Looked like a miscommunication.
I can't see.
Ball went through the hands of number 25, and it was picked off by Rayshon Jenkins.
So
it looked like ultimately at the end.
All right, so Nick Needham got a hand on it.
Nick Needham got his hands on it, yep, and then Rayshon Jenkins got it, I think, at the end.
It really is telling for the NFL and the course of training camp, Drew, to your point. You know, man, we were just here last week loving the beginning part of this week, the dominance and depth, strength of our team and defense being our secondary. And now
it was Lamarian James, the corner from 27 out of Texas Christian.
You got it.
And another errant throw there. So after a good kind of opening session for the offense, Dylan Gabriel, a little bit of struggles there. An interception, a couple of errant throws, and we will take our break. That's going to conclude it. So no third-team reps there. So Shedeur Sanders, we wanted to see him get more reps, more opportunities today. Very limited reps, it would appear, even though three quarterbacks have gone, as that period was just Joe Flacco and Dylan Gabriel. We'll be back with more from Browns training camp at the Cross Country Mortgage Campus here on Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Bally Bet. America builds with Gregory Industries, an industry leader in roll-form steel manufacturing and the official partner of the Cleveland Browns. America builds with Gregory. Also should note earlier when we presented Kevin Stefanski live at the podium, that was brought to you by Vivid Seats. Purchase your official fan experience package today for the ultimate game day. We're back here, training camp practice number 8, rolling on in the pads. More special teams working on the kickoff right now. Luke Floria getting some opportunities to return the ball for the Cleveland Browns. Gage Lardavan back there as well. Obviously, DeAndre Carter, I think, will be your returner once this thing gets going. But that's kind of what we're getting, special teams. So by the time we go off the air, probably not a lot more on the offense, gentlemen. So I'll just ask you this quickly. Bernie, first, your takeaways just from what you've seen here today.
To see the nicer weather, the cooler weather, but you're seeing, I think, the ramifications of now a week to 10 days into training camp and a couple days of live practice. Offensive line significantly better in terms of pushing the defensive front and having some positive plays. Defensive backs still have guys covered, and the ability to make plays down the field in the passing game still isn't really there.
Lamarian James had that pick earlier, and he was just back there on kickoff return unit as well. I think that's one of the undrafted rookie free agents. We talked a lot about the wide receivers, other side of the ball, guys that I think will flash once we get to preseason action. I think he might do the same.
Yeah, listen, there's opportunity for him now in that room. There really is a chance for somebody that probably said, oh, they're practice squad bound, to make the final 53 with the injury to M.J. Emerson. All right, that's going to do it for us here today. For those of you who want more content, we're going to have Browns Training Camp Insider today, myself, Bernie, and then Andrew will join us in the final block. We'll have an interview, Bernie, with Shedeur Sanders as well on that one. So be sure to check out today's edition of Training Camp Insider. And then that'll do it for us for this week here on Cleveland Browns Daily. The next level will be next. The Browns will practice again on Saturday, day off Sunday. We'll have a practice Monday. We'll be here for that for Cleveland Browns Daily before we get on the plane on Tuesday and head to Charlotte. Big headlines, Kenny Pickett back, DeJuan Jones back, and it does look like Greg Newsome is going to be okay after a little scare there, so great
Fingers
news
crossed.
there. Fingers crossed for the Browns. The next level's next. Thanks for listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet on 850 ESPN Cleveland.